to the Premiership final, which we just got the news today, the great news today, that it will be Exeter v Wasps, not Exeter v Bristol, who had stood by, who would manage to make the final despite losing the semi-final by 40 odd points, which would be a very bizarre thing had that gone ahead. But no, Wasps have been given the all clear to play, so that match will go ahead. It'll be on Saturday at Twickenham at 6 p.m. So yeah, that is absolutely good news. Just in terms of a few stats, I was doing a bit of research on this game. It's very interesting on all the key stats that you would go to, things like tries scored, points scored, penalties won, penalties conceded, passing. All of these stats, they are pretty much equal on all of them across the season, both these sides. There are two stats, one each, where there's a difference. Exeter have a 99% goal kicking record in the Premiership this year.
Jesus Christ.
99%.
But you know what that is? They don't take the risks.
Exactly.
If they're ever in a position where it's a 50-50 shot, they go, no. We're going right to the corner and setting up our picture and scoring a try. And if you give us another penalty in the corner, we'll tap and go and we'll score that way.
Yeah, that's where that has come from. Whereas Wasps with their 92% kicking, which is actually really good anyway, but it looks abject comparatively. And then the other one, which I found surprising, is Exeter only have 84% scrum success rate this season, whereas Wasps have 92%, and that is the one area where
the scrum success stat I wouldn't read too much into.
No, I know, but it was just I wouldn't have cited that as a great strength for Wasps, and I would have had it as a great strength for Exeter. So it was just a curiosity. But in all other stats, they have been evenly matched this season, and in terms of just the form, like Wasps have been in flying form since lockdown. They've looked fantastic, to be honest. They absolutely did a job on Challenge Cup champions Bristol in the semi-final, put them to the sword very ruthlessly.
100%.
And yes, it'll be a big task for their pack. We don't quite know who will be available or unavailable. Obviously, all those COVID they had, I think 8 players or 7 players test positive, undisclosed. Don't know who those guys are.
How long ago was that even? Is there a 10-day factor that'll come in? Can some of them come back if they tested negative? It's hard to know.
Tough to know who will be available or who won't be. As well, Fekatoa I think won't be available due to injury. However, a slightly simpler diagnosis, but obviously Wasps' preparation will have been affected by this kind of COVID thing and the doubt that was cast over their even participation in the final. But it would be nice to see them get close to their full side out and ready and make a proper game of it, because they really have looked like the form team since lockdown.
Yeah, they've had a lovely polish to them, the Wasps. They've landed at a lovely balance, and it remains to be seen how disrupted that has been, obviously, or will be by the COVID situation, which is obviously extremely unfortunate. But at their best, they're a phenomenally balanced outfit. I mean, you look at their front row, it's entirely pushed. Brooks, as you say, you were talking about scrum success. Brooks, tight head, very, very solid, very easy to lock it down. Yeah. Hence the success. They're just not being stopped on their own scrum ball. A classy engine room with Rowlands, who's going to be in Wales. He's going to come and be a Welsh player, along with a Test rugby player, along with Joe Launchbury, who we all know about is brilliant.
Yes.
And then that back row, Thomas Young, Jack Willis, Brad Shields, sensational.
Dynamic.
Willis in particular looks one of the best players and one of the best form back rowers in the world, and he's looking like a guy who's going to go straight into an England team. An England team with Currys and Underhills in his current position.
It's true. He's been a phenom, and they are very dynamic as a back row. They really do range in the loose, and they this Wasp side, especially since lockdown, but even before they were Wasps have traditionally been a run the ball, attacking kind of quick tempo team. And this back row are kind of epitomes of that. They are like Jack Willis is a terrier in the Titan in the breakdown, but with the turnovers he provides, they can link and distribute. All 3 of those back row players can distribute, but then they have Umanga and Gopperth at 12 kind of helping out the young man, dual distributor thing, very Aussie look to that 3/4 line.
And even Dan Robson at 9, what a fantastic pace he drives. I mean, Wasps are a team that their identity was running rugby, and this year they've managed to actually build the foundations around the running game without losing the running game. So now they have set piece strike plays. They're rock solid at line out and scrum. They're breakdown terriers. They defend really well. and their attack is still as lethal as ever. Obviously Malachi Fekitoa went down in that semi-final.
That is a big potential loss for them. I don't know that he will be available. In fact, I suspect he won't be. And in fact, there was another one of their centres was previously injured. I can't remember. Yes, Ryan Mills, who's another one of their centres, has a broken foot. Fekitoa had a groin strain.
There's no chance he can just run off the broken foot. No,
run off the broken foot or the groin strain. No, no. Hopefully, I don't know who's going to slot in at 13, but Fekitoa has been really their rock at 13 as far as shutting down the wide play of other teams. He's been brilliant at it.
No question.
And if he's not available, he will be missed and will weaken them.
Proper lethality in that back three. Bassett and Kibarigi on the wings are lethal, and Manozzi's great as well.
Yeah, they have been finishing tries for fun, and tries like you said, they've been kind of created a bit tighter than that. They look like a hefty team as well. They really did make mugs of Bristol. Who are kind of like a little lacking in their development in terms of the pack strength. Wasps really bullied them for that, put them to the sword, physicalised them in the tight, and then made them fed off their errors. They won't quite be able to do that against Exeter, who are obviously a big mean pack as well. But they definitely have what it takes to go toe to toe more than most Premiership sides. Exeter normally do just for most Premiership sides with a physicality, but maybe this Wasps side can make a final of it.
Well, it's an interesting one from their point of view in terms of how they approach the game. Obviously, from a defensive point of view, the task obviously becomes massive once you get into your own 22. And Racing made a game of it in that regard because they've jacklers everywhere. They have Cameo Shaz. Wasps have a couple. Thomas Young and Jack Willis. Absolutely,
that's got to be the game. Is chop and poach.
But yeah, it's not quite their game. I mean, certainly with the two 10s, with Umonga and Goppert, you want to see those guys control the game, make sure that they tighten up the discipline, and don't give Exeter the ins that Racing gave them. Start like a house on fire, put Exeter under pressure, put yourselves in the right area of the field, make Exeter exit, make them slow to get into the game, and then be clinical when you get your opportunities. And that's something that Wasps have been so good at, is being clinical. And that's what they have to bring. And like, we're waiting to see someone paint the picture of taking the lead against Exeter, and Exeter hasn't happened yet. They haven't let it happen. They've been down in there, and they've always got that opening score. Can Wasps be the side to put that pressure on them? It remains to be seen. Yeah,
it does remain to be seen. Certainly from Exeter's point of view, they have a task at hand in terms of just managing their emotional peak, getting down from the final last week and getting up for this one.
Leinster teams in the past have struggled with that.
We've struggled, the double was proved very evasive for a long time. So the doubles are very tough to do, and especially with this tight turnaround between finals, don't know how that's going to be affected. Obviously they have a clean bill of health as far as COVID is concerned. Rob Baxter was gleefully reporting midweek, by contrast with Wasps, so we don't know what kind of Wasps we're going to see because of that. But Exeter, we know the Exeter game very well. They will be trying to paint their very typical picture, use their very kickers. They have Slade and Hogg in the back line to partner with their halfbacks and try and share some of that load as far as kicking them out of their territory is concerned. They will hope to be a little bit more effective with the ball in hand in the middle of the pitch than they were in the final. They'll certainly hope to find some avenues, especially if Fekitoa isn't there. They'll want to test that 13 channel, whoever is in it.
For sure.
Get Slade on the ball in the middle of the pitch, and he can either feed Noel or he can drop it on the toe.
They want a little more of a control factor. Like last week, they were excellent in the chaos. They were excellent at maximising the chaotic Racing plays at times and managing to end up exactly where they want to be. But in this game, I suspect Wasps possibly a little tighter, in fact a lot tighter you would hope, than what Racing were bringing last week. So the question for Exeter on defence becomes contain them, don't give them the opportunities that they were giving Racing. I mean, they shipped I don't know how many tries last week. They got to get in on top of them. They got to physicalise them. They got to make sure that the likes of Brad Shields aren't getting clean go forward ball. They got to be alert on set piece. I mean, Wasps like to attack in around that 10-12 channel.
They do.
So whether it's Devoto, I think it'll probably be Devoto this week. I don't think Witten had his best game in the European final. So if Devoto's coming in at 12, he's got to be very, very sharp defensively, because Wasps love to attack. They love to find holes in that centres. They try it off first phase, they try it off third or fourth phase, and they're Uruguay are scoring a try beneath me. That's what sort of distracted my train of thought. But what was I saying?
We're talking about attacking.
Down that whole centre channel. That's where Wasps love to flood, love to make their initial line break, and that's an area that Exeter really more so than against Racing, where everything goes wide. They're going to have to tighten up in that midfield.
Yeah, you want guys like Vermeulen and Ewells plugging those holes, because there are two 10s opposite them in Gopperth and Umaga, so there's options either side of the set piece. You need your flankers there bailing out your back line as far as tackles and in terms of coverage, which should be simple enough to do, because Exeter don't tend to push up that ferociously. They tend to have a soft enough line speed that's good for cohesion. When you find space against them, it tends to be either on short sides or out further wide, so they should be trying to plug that hole. But I would like to see them really pressure, particularly Umaga more than Gopperth, but both ideally when they're on the ball, and get their forwards winning those contests in the tight and making it tough. Well,
if their forward pack can win the day, that'll be massive for them. I mean, Jack Willis was so good against Bristol, and then Wasps with a little bit of space and a little bit of time off turnover ball will punish you. So from an Exeter point of view, if you can get on top of them and put them under pressure by the penalties off them, get your picture going down into their half from an early point of view. I mean, they've run through this a lot of times. They know what they're doing, and they're nigh on impossible to stop if they can get that going. But that pitch that we've been talking about the whole time, if Wasps can come out like a house on fire, we've seen teams struggle with when they've had the COVID issues across all sports. I think Liverpool had an awful game in their first game post-COVID in the camp.
Yes.
I think that the Tennessee Titans in the NFL are the only ones to buck the trend who've come out since their COVID diagnosis and played class games.
Yes, but it's tough to say. It is a caveat with Wasps. It's definitely going to affect their preparation. The fact that their participation was in doubt. But hopefully we see the best Wasps we can see. We see an Exeter who are bulling for a double, and hopefully you see a great game of footy after a long season.
I said last week that Wasps would give Exeter a better game than Racing. Racing did end up giving them quite a game. They managed to score more tries than I thought they would. But ultimately, they allowed Exeter in early in the game, and then that was the proving difference. If Wasps can get what we wanted Racing to do, what we think is the picture to really challenge this Exeter team if they want to be double champions, can Wasps get on top of them in that first quarter? Can they paint them that difficult picture of being behind in a game, not being allowed to settle and control the pace as they love to do? That's the big question mark for me, but we shall see. In terms of predictions, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm gonna stick my neck out a little and say I'm going to back Wasps to get it done. Despite the Fekitoa and despite the COVID, I think they are going to attack them. I think they have looked...
Attack the short side?
I would hope that Robson will identify the short side and attack it and score off it. But I think Exeter aren't invulnerable. I think their defence can be suspect. I think their attack isn't as clinical. In the middle of the field. I mean their multi-phase in the middle of the field is a little bit sluggish. And I think Wasps have looked the form side in this competition since lockdown.
They have.
So I'm going to back them to get it done. I also think that doubles are elusive things. And it's tough to get back up to the pitch of a week after a final. So I'm going to say Wasps.
Well, for colour as much as anything else, but also if you put a gun to my head and said who do you think's going to win, I'd say Exeter.
Yeah.
I think I said it. I think what I said during lockdown as a Leinster fan is if we lose to Saracens, nothing will stop Exeter from winning the double, and that's been correct so far.
Yes,
and,
you're going to stick with it.
I'm going to stick with it. I don't think Exeter can be stopped. I think their clinicality is too great. Although as good as Wasps have looked, the stars have not aligned for them. The COVID situation, the Fekitoa situation, it might just be too much to overcome.
Might be.
And I think that Exeter they're in a fantastic place. They've had no COVID issues. I think one of the underrated things about Exeter is just how strong their club culture is.
Yeah.
Their togetherness and their unity as a squad.
It's
they all buy into it.
Definitely something they have over Wasps currently. Wasps, the Coventry Wasps, the Rico Wasps.
I just think they have great grit and soul to them, and I think they're going to do it. I think this is their year.
Okay. Well, hopefully, Jimmy Gopperth, man of the match, 28 points.
We shall see.
We shall see. Yeah.
Thanks for watching the Overlap Rugby podcast. If you enjoyed that video, please be sure to like and subscribe. And hey, if you have an opinion of your own, if you disagree with what we're saying, leave a comment down below. We might just get back to you.